I see animals, I see birds, I see weather, and so a lot of what the poems in the book are comes from that. I mean, I get an idea for a line, and then it turns into a poem. Or I can't remember more than 2 lines, I don't think.
No.
But I
No one can.
So when I did this book, it's called Summers, Fall, Winter, Spring. I had poems from all seasons. So since it's spring, I'm going to give you the spring reading. I could have given you the summer reading or the winter reading, but I'm going to give you the spring reading because here it is April and we might as well enjoy it. So.
Thanks.
The first poem, I'll give you. We have dogs. We have papillons, little spaniels. A lot of you have met them, and we've had 4 over the years, but one had especially a sweet personality. Was really a nice dog, just a nice being, and so this is about her.
Page?
I'm not going to read the pages.
Okay.
You can follow if you want. Okay?
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Come on.
a passing. Yeah, I mean, it's in order, so you can start at the front. A passing. God knows what place dogs might have in his heart. The scriptures are silent upon this point. The hummingbirds left, as Ilsa did too. Now she is hidden underneath the grass. Goodness must live on somehow, even in thoughts. Goodness lives on, in memory at least. She was the most good-natured dog we've known. Always happy, always willing to please. She'd beam, and the world was hers for an instant. What she gave us was fresh and alive. She held nothing back, watching our eyes attentively, making our hearts sunny, and giving us enjoyment, which we absorbed completely. Her pleasure in being became ours as well. Become a breeze lost in a ripple, instead of a memory that catches at someone's throat. A treasured recollection, a kind deed of mine recalled. A spark in someone's eye that is due to something I said, in a consciousness that is beyond my imagining. Time to go out, live a life that could engender such thoughts. Texas. We went to Marfa in Texas, and Dee Dee and I went on the train, and the train goes all over the state. It goes, and I think that train, the Texas Eagle, might be the Amtrak train that is most often late. And we went to see her daughter in El Paso. But while we were there, I wanted to go to Marfa to go to Chinati, which is a museum in Marfa. And it was founded by the artist Donald Judd. And one of the things that they have there is there's a large shed, and inside of it are aluminum boxes of different shapes, but more all sort of like boxes. And the windows, there's big windows, and the desert is outside, and the sun shines on these aluminum boxes. So anyway, this is about that. Upon reflection at Chinati. Fort Davis under crouching mountain sleeps, while I awake from dreams of otherness. In Marfa, aluminum surfaces will wait in darkness for the sun to play across them and confuse the eyes about the structure they will always keep through time. Those dreams reflect how strange I think I am in this, a borderland patrolled to stop this land from somehow slipping from control of those who think that whiteness must preside, as they, deluded, think it always has. They can't prevent the change that surely will, like light that renders plains into reflections. make these United States more varied still. Marathon, Alpine, Marfa, El Paso. The train rolls on or not the whole night through. And when the day returns, it rolls on too. A late train shouldn't stop, but the freights go on as we wait beside an arroyo. We'll get there sometime, but then when we do, up tilted peaks and below flattest plain. Little towns bereft, roofless, and alone. The skies empty, endless, a vast blue zone. Now and then cirrus, but few clouds with rain. Desert plants fight hard to try to retain a place, an existence, beside a stone. Aboard this train, in our beds, we'll sleep on. El Paso, Marfa, Alpine, Marathon, 71 Ranch. And the living room in the ranch had what they called a picture window back then, which was a really small thing, and a slider. And I kept looking at this because outside this house is a creek and a ravine, and I couldn't really see it because I had these little tiny windows. So I thought about this for a long, long time, and eventually I decided I was going to put a whole bunch of doors there, 9 doors, because doors, you can have floor-to-ceiling glass, while windows, because of code, you can't go down to the floor. So this is about that. How the room takes the light. It's a blast how the room takes the light. In the morning are stripes, and they stretch in diagonal strips as they mark this new passage of rays of the sun. Through the doors, there are 9 with their glass. While I look, mind and heart both take flight. Don't you know that's the way it should be? Just a house with a light as it pours through the windows and all through the place. And the way that it looks is a lift, while the spring sprouts its leaves by the creek as the room frames the woods down below. How my heart can take wing in this spot, while the world and its talk drop away, and the view that I see lets me know that the light of a day makes me one with the day and the light in the sun. And I wrote this in April several years ago, for Shakespeare. This morning, running, thinking of you, Will, and opening my stride to eyes ahead, your relaxed lines kept faith with form, while still the poems show grace and speed are one instead. Across the road, the deer dart one by one, a kind of joy like yours, their jump and stride. Amazed I watch as their passage is done, so effortless and free their flow and glide. Could I but run that way, or write such verse that leaps but speaks the speech of common folk, that bounds through the world, for better or worse, a lightning flash in a bold single stroke, I'd be the magic I've glimpsed in a storm, a beam of energy, a noble form. Is a pandemic poem. You remember at the beginning of COVID, there were no masks and everybody was supposed to be wearing masks, and so therefore people had to make masks. And one of the people who was making masks, my sister Dee Dee, and she had a lot of cloth because she does a lot of quilting, and so she was busy taking pictures of the cloth so people could pick out what they wanted. And so this is about her, for her. Song for a Maskmaker. When air is warm against your face in spring, the croak of geese is heard in the dawn sky, and masks are taped in bags to the front door, the cloth you've chosen in the shades you like. The croak of geese is heard in the dawn sky, the weather's fair, the leaves are coming out, the cloth you've chosen in the shades you like. The care she gives these masks is meant for you. The weather's fair, the leaves are coming out. You know her heart and hands, they say one prayer. The care she gives these masks is meant for you, that you be safe in all the ways you go. You know her heart and hands, they say one prayer when air is warm against your face in spring, that you be safe in all the ways you go, and masks are taped in bags to the front door. This is called Poem on a Theme by My Younger Self. I took a line that I wrote back when I was 20 or 30, and then I built a poem out on top of it. Poem on a Theme by My Younger Self. Jolted by the chorus of molten light, I know exactly the thing he described, the suddenness of dawn in Texas and the heat that was so present and so soon. So unlike the sunrise in Michigan, which slips almost unnoticed into view, not an awakening, more of a sliding of light into collective consciousness. Of some moment is the leap, who I was, not so very different from who I am, and how I've changed is yet another slide. I wrote once, I am the man I always was. I saw someone I know on Butler Street in swarms like grasshoppers, no crosswalk light. And he smiles, he is he, but has trouble framing words anymore. He is still he. The consistency of silence and thought, the pattern woven all around us so, is much the same, I think, no matter what. The redwing and the runner. A redwing skirls a high-voiced trill. East sky is bright with light. It's morning. Spring is clear. This solo note makes up his repertoire. Imagine beings, effortless. They fly amid the air up there and then sing here. The birds are what we think true spirits are. So bodies, as we are, can understand how things we sense turn into things we know. But the immediacy of what's here now, it all is one, the day, the sky, the land, becomes the way I hear this song and go lightheartedly and feel that joy somehow. These birds, I think, are more than metaphor. Their lives are something that I'm better for. It surprised me. A friend of mine said, because I come from a background, another poet, we nowhere ever wrote a rhyme poem at all, said, well, your rhymes are unobtrusive. And I thought, okay, that's nice. That's a nice thing to say.
Unobtrusive.
Not show. I think he meant, no, I think what he said was not showy. That's better than unobtrusive.
Yeah.
Back in the Middle Ages, the Provençal poets, the troubadours, wrote poems, and they wrote poems to the ladies that they were in love with. And of course, the conceit was always that the lady never paid any attention to the poet. She just ignored the poet. And Petrarch did the same thing. The Italians did the same thing after that. So this kind of comes from that same place. It's called Wish. If these, my lines, had wings, they'd fly around your head and past your eye to trouble thoughts and change your heart. To me, till now, a thing apart. Your heart that films or sunsets touch, to which my lines don't mean so much. I'd love to hear good words of these. For me, they're real, like skies or trees. But you say nothing, so I think. Into your heart I've forged no link. My lines seem easy to ignore, just talk, no meaning, little more. And thus I wait for no response. I'm wounded by your nonchalance. Now no one hears the birds that sing, and these poor lines, they don't take wing. I write a new poem, I'll read it, and then I put it on YouTube. And this one happens to be the one that has had the most views on YouTube. We're not talking viral here. I mean, I think maybe 75 people looked at this.
Pretty good.
It's not, you know, I'm not gonna challenge the gods of YouTube. It's called Lore. And this poem, I think has to do, it's the same process as when you turn onto Perryman Street and you drive through the woods and you head towards the beach. You're going through the woods and then suddenly you make that last turn and you see the lake in front of you. That's what I think I was thinking of. Lore. Start with the music you hear so distantly near you. Yes, it's the song that I sang so low through the night air. Clouds calmly mirror the lake that flickers in moonlight, made in the image of something clearly outlandish. Etched in a pattern of little stones like the weather, caught in the web of our memories, they are tokens. Real like the lore of the realm we find all around us. Struck by this vision, a heart might tarry forever. Here by the dunes grow the trees, the beeches and hemlocks, shadows dividing on floors of forests beneath us, crossing confusedly, patterns split, interwoven, blurred like the sound of the words you hear in the background. Feeling a thing you once felt return with the wind's touch. Keep it in mind as you stay aware of the moment. Seems this is not quite the way we thought it would work out. You know, the course of the world can shift in an instant. Waves wash the edge of the beach and ceaselessly pulsate. They're like a cradle constantly rocking. Is it our lives that flew by, our dreams we've forgotten, lost in the waters that flood the sands of the shoreline? Distant early morning. Superior in aspect, it's a morning. This must be almost winter's final snowfall. The light streams out and splits the box where dawn breaks. That pink and purple slot enlivens flatness. For moments I see color, then it's faded. A monochrome of oaks and snow looks humble, pared down and skeletal in these surroundings. There are some banks of clouds and palest sky flecks. Then sometime there will be a sun ray glancing off snow that edges layered forest branches. I walk out now into this frozen landscape. The purity of blue is overwhelming. For all I know, it will be spring tomorrow, becoming something resonant and leafy. I was really happy with this poem because it ended up in 4 stanzas, and each of the stanzas was one of the elements that they talked about in the Middle Ages, you know, earth, air, fire, and water. They're all here. So I think part of it happened by accident, and part of it then I finished it doing that way. It's called Easter. The evidence of what we see tells us this world won't end. Though beings have mortality, each spark we get, we send. There was a fall, spring still follows. Skies drop rain like before. Water disappears in hollows. In clouds we know there's more. The seeds will sprout up from the earth. What sleeps will be awake. We see the signs. It is rebirth. Another road we'll take. Beneath the air, we'd often plod. Our souls will then take flight. We'll exist in the mind of God in folds of clearest light. Quiet country. The air is clear and clouded skies prevail. It feels so soft, the morning light is pale. The songs of birds pervade the leafing wood. They mark the quietness as something good. Above the silence, their voices vary. they shape this day and seem necessary. Is each song I hear addressed to someone, to the world, its mate, or itself alone? A moment comes along when birdsongs cease. There are echoes in the wood give way to peace. I fell heir to this space and time somehow. Their hidden glories are what I feel now. I give thanks for serenity and grace, the gifts I get from life lived in this place. Singing at daybreak. Dawn takes its time and rekindles the sky, edging the world where the branches divide, air in a million, so distant, bright bits. Brightnesses shine out for seconds, then fade. Day settles down to a pattern becalmed, shape of this morning, familiar as breath. Moments chase moments, a cycle enchained. Spring, a new season, engages my mind. Then it becomes the soul core that enthralls, held in a glance, as if one, all wrapped up, just as if it were reflected in glass, mirrored, enclosing a world, all I view, seeming complete, self-contained, like a wave. Bird songs announce it, foretelling the day, hearing their voices and sounds all around. They are like dreams that dissolve when I wake. Light welling up comes to govern my thoughts, caught in the flow of a stream, which is time. The American painter Mark Rothko did large canvases with one or two colors, maybe three colors sometimes, big patterns soaked into the canvas. He also wrote, he explained his painting and painting in general. And when I read what he had to write, it was cryptic, it was oracular, it was difficult, it was kind of hard to see what he was really trying to get at exactly. I took a number of things that he said and I put them together and I put my own words around them, and that's where this one came from. It's called In Rothko's Words. Silence is eloquent, so accurate. Total silence is rare. There's more power in telling little than in telling all. The sounds we catch at edges bear more force than those that stay at the heart of focus. That miracle, perceiving things that are, along with us, alive at this time, now, is clarified as time moves on forward, till what we hear, shared with what made the sound, shares the feeling behind the sound, the thought. It makes us one, this feeling, what we hear. There is no obstacle between us both, and we are linked. We share a thought, a sound. Solitude is ended. We breathe and stretch. I'm going to read you something, not mine. Si quaeris peninsulam amoenam circumspice. This is the motto of the state of Michigan. Somewhere back in 1835, some Latinist, I guess, decided that he would choose his motto. It means, if you seek a pleasant peninsula, look around you. I've been thinking about this. I didn't know any way of using it, never known. But I bought a house. I bought a house out on 62nd Street, and it's a manufactured home, and we're working on it, and I'm going to sell it to a young family who needs to have a house, So I was out there in this trailer, double wide, on 62nd Street, and waiting for the electrician because the electrical work had to be done. So while I was doing that, I was writing this poem. So it's just a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was last week, 2 weeks ago. It's called Peninsular, because I was thinking about, the pleasant peninsula. Peninsular. A cover of clouds slips away to free that moment in which what is seen shines forth. The grass, now refreshed since rain beat it down, has life that's awakened now cold is gone. Newness surrounds this place in open fields. People will come to dwell here, to lead lives, to find small things that a place can disclose, the birds of the air, the blooms on the lawn. We see, unveiled as fresh light outlines it, the earth in human scale, so every day it feels the same as the days we go through. They'll live at the edge of sky in this house. Peninsular blue, initial truth green. The world must have had its start in the spring. There were 2 poems. Summer's fall came first, and winter spring came afterwards. And summer's fall is the moment, it's in August usually, and you go out in the morning, and then suddenly there's just a hint of coolness. It's like it started to break, and you say, oh, time is passing, it's going to be fall. And in winter, there's the same kind of time, probably right after the really worst part of it, and then suddenly you go out in the morning and, well, birds are maybe singing, and there's a little more light, and you think, we're going to get out of this, it's going to be spring. So I'll read summer's fall and winter spring. Summer's fall. Amid the heat of August is a day whose morning hints the cool is yet to come. Slow fading mist swirls past as I survey. Cornrows in waves like the ground they grew from. Just then, a leaf tumbles down from the trees. Not a cascade, just the one drifting down, the first of all to fall, which no one sees. A living leaf descends and soon turns brown. The oldest cycle enacted once more. Thinking of autumn, thinking of my end, just a scare and a sorrow, so I'm done for. And yet seasons return, no rip, no mend. As Ornette Coleman keens about sadness, and the news still propels its tales of madness. Well, the madness, you know about that. Ornette Coleman, the saxophonist, played a song called Sadness. Winter, spring. It's white and black. It's cold and windy. Running, I'm the image of a man against the outline of a landscape. Trees are trunks. The ground is trackless snow. A winter stumbles to its ending. Sun will melt what's left of what it was, but now its evidence is present. Swift of foot, I'm not. I lope along the sides of roads I run so rarely, while the weather clamped down hard for weeks. To move, to feel the miles slip by me, is the simple reason that I run. And soon I'll see and hear the land still sleeping, come alive to shape of spring. A brand new poem, or a couple days old now. To us all. So speak your bit, make what you know of your life known. There's not just one thought, there's one that only you can frame, can put into words. One sight that only you have ever seen. One day when you alone have paid attention, given your mind over to one thing. Those are yours, your thought, your sight, and your only spark. Catch that bit of life, kindle it in your cupped hands, Let it flame up, become what it will, what it wants. Let it go. Let the words that make it up have life, have their own agency, and be a thing alive. Let what you wrote have a place of its own making. Look at it, allow it to change, to take new forms, until it settles into what it is, what it always has wanted to be, what it always has wanted to say, till it becomes truth unchallenged. Your words, the words that only you could say, could think, somehow became the thoughts that everyone has had, words that speak to all of us in our humanness. When that happens, when you realize that, there's a moment when you catch your breath, when the thought that you speak for each of us can elevate what you wrote. They are your words. They are our truth. So speak your truth. Came up in my mind here. Everybody knows who Frida Kahlo is, right? You all know.
Pardon?
You know who Frida Kahlo is?
Oh, sure.
No.
Yeah.
She's joking. May I ask you, when you write, is it a specific time or whenever you're moved, or do you write specifically in the evening or the morning, or how does that transpire with you
Everything I do seriously happens in the morning.
in the morning?
I mean, when I do work, when I'm, calling people and that kind of stuff, it's in the morning.
Before or after your run?
Right. Well, this last one, To Us All, I mean, I just woke up in the middle of I woke up in the morning and I thought, well, I'm going to write about, I had a couple lines, so I was going to write about, telling people they need to tell their stories, essentially. And it just came, it was all there. And then I thought, well, I could change this, change that. I thought, no, better not. Yeah. But nearly everything I do in the morning. Well, what about you?
Pardon?
What about you?
And a lot happens in the evening if I'm just reading or something, and I'll see a phrase or something that will bring something to mind, or if I'm talking about something or someone with someone, it brings something to mind, and then it usually happens like that, and I very seldom rewrite it. It almost always happens, and I know really most writers rewrite and rewrite. I very seldom do. What about you?
I have a tendency to rewrite some, but I know that there's this line, first thought, best thought, that when you start rewriting, you're messing things up, and I think that's true. That's kind of what I felt about this last one. I thought, don't mess with it, don't mess with it. I have a friend, my friend Steve Levine, who lives in Brooklyn, and he's a poet, and we've known each other for half a century now. And he writes very, very thin poems, kind of like Robert Creeley. They're very thin lined, very short lines, and he just agonizes over them, and it's kind of like torture,
Yeah.
and I don't like to do that. I don't want to do that, but.
Sometimes I'll change a word for meaning. I'll have a certain word and I think, do I mean cynical or do I mean sarcastic? And so I think about the word and what kind of meaning that would affect in the poem. So I do that.
Yeah.
Quite often, actually.
I have this tendency, there's there are words like light and skies, and I'm using them all the time. So I could, again, and put them on every line, and maybe you want to do that if you want to emphasize, but sometimes it's just inattention, so I do that kind of stuff too.
Well, thank you.
I'll read Frida Kahlo. Frida Kahlo at the Henry Ford Hospital. There are two things, an irreparable loss and something that was not meant to be. How we classify such events tells us who we are. So in her mind's eye, she paints a picture and then reproduces it on sheet metal like a retablo or a santo, forms she knew well, with a reservoir of feeling. She sees herself small in a hospital bed, bloody, in pain, surrounded by thoughts, images attached in red thread of the child she hoped to have, a snail, an orchid, a pelvis like hers, injured. And behind her, not a hospital room, but a sky outlining industrial buildings. But it seemed she knew it was not meant to be. She had doubts, it is said, when she learned she was pregnant. Poor woman, she lost the baby and the hope of having another. It kind of, when I was reading it, I was just thinking about, Jack Riddle's poem about the Monet poem, Jack
Monet.
Riddle has this one poem where it's about a Monet painting is really just describing what's going on, in the painting. So it kind of made me think about that. So.